Good morning. Today is, I think, the 17th of November, and I just wanted to talk about the differences, in my opinion, on an MBA versus the CFA. If you've never heard of the CFA, it's a Chartered Financial Analyst. Takes a minimum of about 2.5 years. Generally, people will call it 3 years. You can only take one part of the exam per year. So exam 1 is offered in June and December. 2 is offered in June only. 3 is offered in June only. So it takes about 2.5 years to get. Each exam covers a plethora of different topics. And think of like a CPA. You're probably more familiar with the CPA, Certified Public Accountant. Think of something like that, but 3 to 4 times more difficult. You can do a CPA in relatively short period of time, in under a year. You can probably get it in like about 6 months from friends that I've talked to. I do not have a CPA. I do have a CFA, but think of it like that. So it covers a lot of the stuff in accounting, economics, statistics. There's just a plethora of different topics that is covered and that's on each exam. And that covers the fundamental analysis to value companies and or different securities in the equity markets. An MBA, you can do your MBA in pretty much anything you want to do your MBA in. I have an MBA from the University of Rochester, and I actually have 3 majors. I didn't see a point in really taking electives. Why not put those electives to use for something? So I have a MBA with a concentration in finance, a concentration in accounting, and one in strategy. I just generally don't say strategy. I just say accounting and finance. Now, my experience getting both. I think an MBA is relatively easy to get. University of Rochester is, according to the schools and different rankings out there, their finance program is ranked, top 50 in the world. I didn't even have to buy books. And I'm not trying to say that to think that I'm cool. I just think that it's not challenging. Like, I don't think most people would have to buy books. It's not that fucking difficult. I think if you just pay attention, it's pretty fucking easy, honestly. That for MBA programs, depending on where you go, from my understanding and the research that I did, you have MBA programs that have different levels in terms of the number of credits required to get an MBA. So the Simon School, which is the business school for the University of Rochester, I believe it was 60 credits needed. So I initially started that part-time while I was working in 2 jobs, one full-time and one part-time job, and did my MBA while I was, I think, in my 2nd year for the MBA. I started studying for the C.F.A. Now, in my opinion, given how easy it was, in my opinion, and I'm not trying to say, talk shit about anybody else's program or even the University of Rochester's program, just my opinion solely, I did not find the MBA program challenging at all. I didn't find the CFA program that challenging. The quantity of work required to be successful for a CFA, in my opinion, was 3 to 4 times more than it was for a MBA. The MBA was relatively simple in terms of just pay attention and go through some of your notes and you're good for exams. Now, for the CFA, the amount of work and preparation to pass an exam is on the magnitude of 5 to 10 times more challenging. If you aggregate the total across an MBA, if it's 60 credits, maybe it was 120, honestly, I don't remember. credits. But the amount of work, they say for the CFA, on average, people who successfully pass the exams, per exam, they'll spend about 300 hours of time preparing for that. So if you just take 300 and you divide that, say, by 20 hours a week, right? Because you maybe have a life, or maybe you are married or work or anything, and you would just put 20 hours a week in, right? That's about 3 hours per day, or maybe an hour Monday through Friday and each day. So that's 5 hours plus 7.5 hours on Saturday and 7.5 hours on Sunday for 20 hours. So you do that, and that comes out to be 15 weeks? Or what's 300 divided by 20 is 30 goes into 21, and there's 10 left over. Yeah, so I think it's like 15 weeks. I think I'm doing the math wrong on that. Take 300 divided by 10 is 150, right? Yeah, 150, and then half that's 75. 75 or something. I don't know. You can do the math. I don't have a calculator in front of me because I'm using my phone to film this. Anyways, it's the amount of work to pass this exam, in my experience, was tremendous. Now, which one is actually more valuable? It really is going to depend on you. Like, what's fucking important to you, right? Depending on what you want to do, but also you don't necessarily have to take whether you get a CFA or an MBA, you don't have to take that, and you don't have to go into using specifically what you got it in. If you did an MBA in finance, you don't have to go into finance. The things that you learn in terms of the way you think about things, or process information, or look at a problem, is where the value is. It's not like, oh, I did an MBA in finance and I'm fucking, selling shoes at the mall. Like, who the fuck gives a shit? It's more about what the overall picture of it is, and I think a lot of people get lost in that. Not that I think school is like super valuable or necessary. I just think that the way of thinking about things is not appreciated, and it's more focused on the topic. Now, I think both of those were tremendous, and when I'm in meetings for work, or just with friends, or just in my own life, I do notice that I tend to be way more analytical in terms of backing up my claims, or anything that I do or say, or information for decisions. If I want to make a decision, I like to have the data behind it. I don't know where that came from. More than likely it came from both of those, but between the MBA and the CFA, I think they helped shift so that I can make those better decisions, whether it's in business or in my own personal life, and just thinking about how I can make decisions more optimally. And I enjoyed both of those tremendously. I thought they were both a great learning experience. I wouldn't go back on either one of them. Also, I think I forgot to mention, the cost. Cost is definitely a big player. The MBA at the University of Rochester, I figure about $100,000. I think it's less than that, a little bit less than that, but about $100,000, versus the CFA is not anywhere near $100,000. You can do your CFA for less than $10,000. I think each exam is about $1,500, and then if you wanted to, say, take a Kaplan class or anything like that, you can take that, or just get some extra study material. CFA is not only is it more challenging, but it's also tremendously less expensive. And if you actually value that, you could probably, and depending on where you work, you might even be able to have your company pay for that. Anyway, that's enough of me rambling on. If you have any questions about either one of those, or if you're thinking about going into those and have any questions about them, leave a comment down below. And on the way down to that comment, press that red button that says subscribe. And I will see you on the other side. Create an amazing weekend, and I appreciate you watching this far into this video. So make sure to press that like button as well. Peace.